The Angry Chicken Hearthstone podcast is produced by amove.tv. Check out amove TV for more podcasts covering Blizzard games. For more of Jocelyn's gaming podcasts, visit jossplays.com. And to find many more podcasts with Ridiculous Hat, follow @RidiculousHat on Twitter. Every episode of Tech is made possible thanks to our legendary patrons over at patreon.com/TAC.
Time's up. Let's do this.
Legendary!
You face Jaraxxus. You smell like a leper gnome. I knew it. So hot.
A podcast about Hearthstone and Battlegrounds. This is The Angry Chicken!
This is The Angry Chicken, the podcast all about Hearthstone. I'm Garrett Weinzierl, here as always with Jocelyn Carney and Ridiculous Hat. Would you just have a heart attack if I just started the show with your full real name, Hat?
Go nuts if you want to. People would be like, who are you talking about?
Yeah, that's true. That would be weird. But it also, I don't know. It's real name. Maybe is Ridiculous Hat your middle name? Like legally? Is it there? Is it on your birth certificate? I never thought about this question until now.
Maybe because it's a dumb question.
Wow.
Shut down.
That is just having none of your tonight.
I was about to say a tough crowd, but this isn't the crowd. It's the other hosts of the show.
No. We come here every week.
Yeah, sometimes.
But yes, I don't have an aversion to the human name, to the government name or whatever. It's just not the brand they've built. And then sometimes, like I'll for those that don't know, I'll let you in a secret. My first name is Ben. Benjamin for vendors at work, but Ben for other people. But then like if I'm at BlizzCon and then someone introduces me, it's like, hey Ben. The other people at the table are like, they get a chill in the back of their neck. It just doesn't feel right. It's not the same. I don't know.
Sometimes at BlizzCon, I'll be hanging out with someone that I primarily interact with online. I'll be calling them their handle, and eventually someone will just be like, you can call me by my real name, and I'm just like, it feels wrong.
Yeah.
And also, frankly, it's
really
weird. It's weird talking to you, and you're not just a frozen Twitter avatar. That also is a little off-putting.
We have broken down that barrier though, because you can see me move. Like I'm moving around right now.
Yeah, you're not a graphical purple top hat, but. It's expected. Hey, we gotta. I don't usually do this, but I'm gonna make reference to the fact we got a YouTube comment last week that was like, "Hey, can you guys get to the point faster? You spend so much time at the top of the show, like doing personal catch up. Could you get to the point faster?" And I'm just like, "Oh, we're getting new listeners. This is great."
That is always a new listener comment. Like, I don't know, we get to talk to each other once a week. They're my friends. We want to catch up, see what's going on.
It is kind of the style, and I get if you don't dig it. And I'm sure there are retorts that's just like, oh, might appeal to more people to get to the point quickly. I'm just like, yeah, it's nice. This is the show I want to do. So I'm going to do it. Who wants to talk about Fast and Furious? No, I'm kidding. We're going to talk about Hearthstone. Although I do, boy, anyone wants to get me off topic today? The secret word is fast and or furious. Also, we should stay away from any card that has the stat 9.
I was going to say, what about 9 cost cards?
9 cost cards, 9 health cards, 9 attack cards, 9 damage cards.
Family's another good word.
Yes. Anyways.
He mentions the word family in every trailer. Like Vin just has to say that.
It's
they're
required.
Family.
It's what the movie's about.
That's what I've heard. I've heard that repeatedly.
If they do not name the last movie like something like the Fast Family or
Fast
something,
Family, yeah.
like just go full ham, like as on the nose as you can make it, please.
You're
Please and
assuming
thank
there's
you.
going to be a last movie and we're not just going to have Fast and the Furious movies forever.
Yeah. More on that at a later date. But yeah, we are indeed here to talk about Hearthstone. The chat this morning in our host Discord where we plan the show was, what in the name of all that is Hearthstone are we going to talk about? Because there ain't jack happening in the world of Hearthstone. And thank God, we got a little tease, which we'll talk about in a minute. But before we talk about the future of Hearthstone, how are we feeling about current Hearthstone? Because it seems that mercifully we're about to be at a lack of time to spend talking about the current state of things as we gaze our sights on the future of this card game we like to play.
That was such a dramatic intro. I feel like I'm in a Fast and Furious movie right now.
I'm not taking the bait. Talk about Hearthstone. You don't even like Fast and Furious.
We're not going to go into this now. You are about to take the bait. Jocelyn, how's Hearthstone been going for you?
It's going okay. I think that the mini set didn't necessarily shake up as many things as I would have kind of liked it to. So I've bounced off of Constructed a little bit, but then I have Battlegrounds to play. So that makes me happy. But even then, I'm in this like ready for the next new thing portion, like the pre-expansion excitement. Like I'm kind of done with what I'm currently doing in Hearthstone and ready to do new things. We have a question at the end of the show about like what archetypes and stuff we'd like to see maybe, brought to the forefront in the new expansion. So we'll save that sort of stuff for then. But I don't know. I'm kind of maybe like wishing I was into more modes in Hearthstone. Like I wish I was a good arena player or something. Like, cause for a while it was like when I don't love standard constructed, I just jump over to Battlegrounds. And now I'm kind of like, I'm having trouble getting into either one of those. So now I just don't know what to do for the next, like, however long till we get the next expansion sometime in the next, like, 6 to 8 weeks.
You pick Guff. Just pick Guff.
Yeah, I haven't had him offered to me yet, and it makes me so sad. I just keep getting Cthulhu, and I keep winning, and it's fine.
I've had him offered.
Cthulhu, it's push the button. It's boring.
If you're getting bored of BGs and you keep picking Cthulhu, I'm not going to say that you shouldn't win. I'm going to say I get it, because that hero has a very linear play pattern.
Yeah.
Press button, receive wins.
Yeah, I've gotten Guff twice. Once was the first day of the patch, in which I think I got 5th place because I was being a moron and trying to play like normal Hearthstone. Instead, I should have played the Guff's strengths, which I famously said weren't going to be that good. When we got a preview look at Guff, I was like, I don't know, it seems okay. Kind of seems like this is a power you design because you can and not because you should. And turns out, hey, totally busted, broken-ass hero that's tearing it up every lobby that he gets picked in. But and then I got Guff today. And today I knocked out all 3 of Guff's achievements for top finishers because I got first place.
There you go.
Yeah. So there's that. Ah, good Lord, Guff is ridiculous. I think I had the whelp in my final warband and I got first place. To give you an idea how dumb Guff is. Guff is silly, man.
It rewards you for kind of just picking 6 minions that you're going to have that game and then just button forever. And
dragons work
1-drop
really well.
Yeah, dragons work well. I think an Acolyte of Cthulhu would do just fine as well. Like, nothing wrong with that.
I believe last I checked, yes, that is indeed still the case. If you are playing Guff Rune Totem in Hearthstone Battlegrounds, the top 2 compositions for him are Dragons and Taunt. So there you go. There you have it.
Man, I love dragons too. I wish I could at least give him a try. And that's a little bit of, I think, my problem with Battlegrounds right now is that the hero pool is so big. It's just so much bigger than it used to be. That it used to be if I played for a day, I would probably get offered every hero. And now it's like I can play for a week and never see like half of them.
I mean, you can just get like unlucky rolls, right? Like,
yeah. Which maybe that's part of it too. But when the pool was smaller, it felt like I had less unlucky rolls. And it's not even that I'm not being offered good heroes. Like I say, I see Cthulhu in almost every single one of my rolls. And then when everything else is a terrible hero, I'm like, well, I guess I just pick Cthulhu, but I'd really like some variety in heroes that can also get me some wins. Like, so I don't know. That's just, I mean, obviously my own personal anecdotal experience currently, but they might want to maybe rotate some heroes out that aren't doing so hot right now, just to shrink that pool down a little.
Yeah.
Because I mean, we're supposed to get all of the mercenaries eventually, right? So that's
we'll have all of
a
them
pretty
there
big
before we have the
influx.
mode in the game.
True, very true.
Well, maybe, and like when they expanded hero choice to 4, I feel like it encouraged them to keep more of the bottom heroes in the game. I don't know if that was necessarily a good thing because we get more bad choices. But
Yeah.
there's still like the outliers. The number of outliers we have hasn't really changed. The number of top heroes. We just get to see more bad options that we never take.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little rough. It's a little rough at the moment. I say anything with a lower win rate than Bigglesworth, cut it off, retool it, bring it back later. Bigglesworth is as bad as I want it to be, and that's when I want to YOLO Bigglesworth, because Bigglesworth is fun as hell.
I was going to say, yeah, as long as you leave Bigglesworth in, I'm happy.
Yeah.
Just
And
give me my
I
kitty.
feel like I don't think they're gonna take Bigglesworth out. Too many of the devs like him.
Yeah, I play him every time he's offered, even though he's terrible.
There's a certain level. If you're below like what HS Replay might consider a tier 2, but above Bigglesworth, I'm probably still taking Bigglesworth. But you know, if I'm offered like a Rag, Alakir, Millhouse, I'm not out of my mind. I do like winning consistently.
I like the kitty.
But sometimes I also like to go kitty and win bombastically, taking a major gamble. And I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that.
I
But
think
on
I
the
would pick Bigglesworth. At this point, I think I would pick Bigglesworth over Deathwing almost every time. Even though Deathwing is technically better, because I'm bored of Deathwing.
Deathwing is really boring. Although I gotta say, I got it fairly recently, and I haven't been doing a lot of like old school token beasts, and I had a really good game going token beasts, and it was only because Deathwing that it like kind of worked. And so in that way, I guess I'll give a point to Deathwing, but I don't want him when beasts aren't in the pool.
Deathwing is also very good with this little known tier 3 unit, Bronze Warden, which you may have known from every Battlegrounds game where he's the best 3-star unit.
Basically, since it's been introduced.
Yeah. I can't believe that card has just stayed the way it's been since the day they printed it, and it's been nuts since then.
It's not as bad as like old Cobalt Guardian. Like it is. I think it is as good as you can be as a single card that early in the game. Like I think it's right at the precipice of the pain point. Like it's real close.
Yeah. I haven't really like Battlegrounds was never my main mode, except for during Rastakan's Rumble when it was the only real mode. Sorry, Rastakan's Rumble, but your standard format didn't exist.
Yeah, no, don't apologize. They know what they did.
Yeah.
That was like, we just want to hit pause on the current meta. Just for 6 months.
Yeah. Well, they did that when they printed Baku again, and anyways, they kept them in. It's fine. Battlegrounds was awesome. Played a lot of it. I still think it's an awesome mode, but I dip my toes in it more casually. Like, I play it here and there. I played a lot during Darkmoon Prizes because it felt different, but losing combat to a Bronze Warden surviving again when it came out, March of last year? When it's been 15 months of losing to the same unit in tier 3 and 4?
I mean, there was also, the launch of Quillbores. We were losing the Quillbores there for a bit.
There's been a bunch of stuff.
We're still
New
losing
units
to
are where-
Quillbores and their homies, which is what I refer to as Menagerie Comp.
Yes.
And sometimes
Dragon
Bronze
Bunker's
Warden is there.
Still a good card.
But let's be honest, Bronze Warden isn't the reason that that Menagerie Quillbore is working. It's just a powerful addition.
What makes BG's interesting to me as a player that engaged with it a little bit more casually is when the units are different. And I played a bunch when Quillbores came out, and that was cool and also broken. Then they nerfed it, and it was still cool. And then Quillbores are kind of bad now unless you go Menagerie. And we're kind of back to you want to hit the same key points at the same turns, and you end up like if you can go Menagerie and you get a Light Fang, that's good. Agam Thorn Curse, Flatus, because a new different thing. I enjoy when I get to do that. But when the major turning points of a game are the same and units that I recognize, and it's been over a year, it's like it's kind of hard to get excited about it. And I think that's where Standard is too. If we look at both formats, Joss, I'm kind of in the same boat as you, where Standard and BGs both feel kind of stale. It's a little bit stale, like not the worst we've ever had.
No, definitely
either.
not. Mm-hmm.
This is not
But
elementals.
not enough that I feel. No. Or it's not in Standard, it's not Karazhan Shaman Stone, where we didn't have Spirit Claws unnerfed for 6 months for some reason. And I'm not going to do a back in my day episode.
So much has changed since then. Yeah, that is.
Yes.
Yeah,
Very
that's like.
different.
That's like, I remember when I got into a minor fender bender with a mailbox and died because airbags and seatbelts hadn't been invented yet. The world has changed. We have moved on.
Yeah. We've moved on. So it's not anywhere near as bad as that, but I just don't feel really a big pull to play either of those formats right now. And they're the two premier formats in the game, so I think that's significant, especially after a mini set less than a month ago and a rotation and core set and new expansion and all that less than 3 months ago. And with BG's getting Quillbores 2 months ago. Yeah. They're changing a lot of stuff, but I still don't feel a pull to the two major formats. So I've been dipping my toe into some other stuff. Been trying out some Wild, and it's very nostalgic. And I enjoyed a town crier into a ritual chopper the other day, and it was I had feelings. I had feelings.
I was
Were
going to
they
say,
good feelings?
what is it like over in Wild right now? Like, what is the meta like? I don't even know what the good classes are. Like, what do you do there?
Well, okay. So at the high level, which I'm not playing, I want to point out that I'm not playing high level. I am playing silly decks.
We are
level,
here, talking about the mere mortals Wild experience. The everyman, the everyman, the every hat.
Everyman, yeah.
Right. The most popular, yes. Well, there's only one hat, I guess. I don't know. The most popular decks at the high levels are Reno Priest, Darkglare Warlock, and Secret Mage still, and those are all still good choices. But I've been playing decks that remind me of old decks. So I've played some Galakron Bomb Warrior. Scion of Ruin is back to 3. I've also played some Pirate Warrior. Pirate Warrior with Rokara is really good. And also you get to play the new 1 mana 2/1 Bloodsail deckhand that makes your next weapon cost 1 less and just a floating discount. So you get to play 4 mana weapons and curve into them on turn 3. It's kind of fun. I don't know. You can play all sorts of stuff. You can play Reno Secret Mage if you want to. You can play big Death Rattle Demon Hunter. You can play. I was playing an Aggro Shaman that topped out at 3 mana.
Is this the one? I've seen this list going around. It kind of looks like current elemental shaman, but then it's running all that back in my day crazy shit like Tunnel Drog.
Oh, there's a different list. There's a current elemental shaman plus also it's Galakron shaman.
Okay, no, that's not the list I'm talking about. The list I'm talking about tops out at like Serpent Shrine Portal.
Yes, that one. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there's that one. And you get to you have Trog Golem and you cage match Custodian for Lickum.
Okay, this is okay. Regale me with tales of this list because I've seen it going around like in my peripheral. Not a Wild player, but I would be lying to you if I didn't say it. Like, just made me go, should I play Wild? I quickly move on and go back to playing Battlegrounds at the moment. Battlegrounds. I'm back pretty hard into Battlegrounds, but tell me about this deck because it looks nutty.
So I was against Secret Mage, and I went turn 1 Tunnel Trog. And they went turn 1, they did something, I forget what they did, didn't matter. They went turn 2, Surging Tempest, which is the 1/3 that gets +1 attack when you overload. And then Lightning Bloom, Crackle, Storm's Wrath, attack for 6 on turn 2.
Okay, never mind, Crackle's on the list. Okay, I'm out.
It is just to get an overload proc and do some amount of damage to your opponent's face. On turn 2, it didn't matter. They died on turn 5.
Yeah, you don't care how much.
They died on turn 5.
Okay, so I just need to think about Crackle as Overload 1 as a trigger, and whatever else happens is ancillary.
Yeah, it's just bonus. It's just extra.
Yes. Bonus damage.
Can't be disappointed if you already have low expectations.
Exactly. It's all about managing expectations.
Oh, it's running. Okay, so I pulled up the list. It's running Arid Stormer.
Oh, good. It is. Yeah, you top it at Arid Storm or Serpentine Portal. I think just those two at 3 mana. I don't think there's anything else at 3 mana.
The Primal Dungeoneer, at least the list I have found.
Oh yeah, that guy. That guy's good. Yes.
Turns
Hey,
out,
this
yeah.
is the deck. Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I find impressive about this is how many damn standard legal cards are being run.
Yeah.
Which probably
just
says
add
something
in-
about why Shaman is still so common in standard at the moment.
Yeah. We just add in Tunnel Trog, Totem Golem, Lickem, and Crackle.
We just add in
and
the
Stormtrap.
best cards in the history of Shaman.
Yeah, anything that wants to play Lickem, I'm down.
Yes.
That's like a best
And-
name card in Hearthstone.
Lick him. Damn near killed him.
Very fast
Look at
games.
that
too.
tongue.
Yes. I love how this entertains you.
It does so much.
I'm not gonna say I'm not entertained. I'm enjoying the giggles.
So have you been dipping your toe in Classic at all, or just mostly Wild?
I played a little bit of Classic because sometimes I just want to prep a Blade Flurry and ruin a Zoo's day, but the queue times take forever. Like, it's fine. I've been trying a little Duels. Been
Oh,
doing
that's
a little
interesting about the
duel
queue.
action.
I'm going to make you back up, though. That's interesting about the queue times being a factor, because we for years yelled, add more formats. Who cares? The queue takes like 3 seconds. So apparently it does
so
matter.
how long is a long Hearthstone queue time? I'm curious.
I mean, Classic isn't crazy long. I guess like somewhere between a minute to a minute and a half. Like, it's not a
Okay,
huge
so it's
limiting
still not
factor.
a very long queue time.
That's
It's
long
not
by
Dead by
Hearthstone
Daylight.
It's
standards.
long. Yeah, it's definitely long for Hearthstone, but it's still, I think, fairly low for any other multiplayer game or most other
Yeah.
multiplayer games, I would say.
It's fine. It's just like I don't really have a desire to marinate in 7-year-old cards, and then if you fall behind on board on turn 2, you probably die on turn 6. Getting value traded every turn because Rush didn't exist yet, and that's just how it was back then. I enjoyed it at the time. I still enjoy dipping my toes into it, but I'm not going to play a ton of Classic.
I've been
And the
I
queue times
wonder-
they're okay.
I wonder if there would be some value in like making a classic event or awarding, like, not taking up your daily quests, but I don't know, some sort of like gold reward that's like extra every, like, I don't know, the first of every month or something. Like, go back to the beginning on the first of every month and get bonuses for playing in Classic or something, just kind of like maybe hype up the mode a little bit. I mean,
like in those
it's still,
Stormu Day.
yeah, like No Stormer Day, but yeah, like Classic Day instead.
Yeah.
And although like No Stormer Day doesn't reward you with anything, right? Other than the hilarious No Stormu experience.
Yeah, I've been thinking about Classic recently because I enjoyed playing it like the first 2 weeks it was out. Like I was really enjoying the nostalgia of it. I mean, it's what it is. If you played it back then, if you didn't play it back then, I don't know what it is. It's a new experience for you. But I really enjoyed that part of it. But it wore off pretty quickly for me. I haven't had much of a desire to return to it. And
Which I think is what they said that they kind of expected.
Yeah.
happen.
I'm having fun chewing on like what it maybe could be and what it makes me think of. Not that this is not me like critiquing it, saying like Classic is a failure, clickbait headline here, making an O face, and I'm surprised. Yeah, thank you, Joss. Thank you. I will use
I'm gonna
that
mark that down for the thumbnail.
in the thumbnail later. Thank you. But no, I was thinking about like ways it, like, I don't know, my brain starts to run away with like the obvious things like could we apply this to like other metas that existed over the history of Hearthstone? Because like, God, there's so many
Time
metas.
walking ladder. Do a time walking ladder. They do it in WoW.
I would really like to go back to other metas. Like I would love to go play in some Mean Streets and go and play in some like Launch on Goro and go back and
Oh
play
man,
in,
some Nax. Nax would be so
OG
fun.
GVG. F me
Yeah.
up 7-7 daddy.
No. No, that's not what we're looking for. We're here for Snow Chugger on 2. That's what we do
Ooh,
in this
Mech
house.
Mage, yes.
You can do that. You can
Snow
do that.
Chugger on 2.
I'm gonna be
Okay.
I'm gonna be
You can Whirling
mustering
Zap-O-Matic on
dudes.
2. You can Zap-O-Matic on 2.
I can Zap-O-Matic on too, but I'd be let's be honest, I'd be there playing the most like milquetoast mid-range paladin you possibly could and loving every minute of it with my boy Shielded Minibot would just be hanging out. Shielded Minibot is my
dude.
boy.
Yeah. Also been playing some Duels. I enjoy Duels. But so we were talking before they thankfully did stuff, and we can talk about the stuff later. We were like, how do we conjure up a topic? And the one that I initially landed on was like, how do you stay engaged when your favorite modes are kind of boring? But then I'm like, no, I just play Wild and Duels. And I thought about it, it's like, oh, I play the expensive modes because I am Hearthstone Monopoly man and I have every card. And whenever things get boring, I just retreat to my mansion on Long Island, on the Cape, or whatever, and play with my old Hearthstone
call
cards.
me the 1%,
All right, listen.
but come on.
Listen, I'm going to defend you. I'm going to
Why
defend
don't
you.
the peasants just play Wild with every card in Hearthstone's existence? I don't understand why they're bored.
I'm not saying everyone listening to the sound of our voices feels the same way, but there's definitely certain folks that don't have a collection like
Josh
yours
is
that
still losing her shit, by the way.
Oh
You
yeah,
gotta
yeah.
let her work.
I'm talking over the cackling Jocelyn.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm trying to just be quiet. I'm sorry.
No.
I'm sure there's folks
Why
that
don't
want
the
to.
peasants?
Yes. Let them eat Duels. That's what Marie Antoinette said back in the day. All right, I'm just going to change the show title now.
I'm sorry, Gary. Go ahead.
Nope, now I'm done. You got me too.
Oh man.
I'm just going to put that in the show title there. I'm just going to do that.
Every time I think I'm done laughing, I unmute and then I start laughing again. What the hell? I don't even know anymore, man. I'm sure someone out there is fine. I give up. I don't know. I forget.
You were
what I
trying
was
to make
gonna
a
say.
point about how a lot of our audience was tenured and probably had access to a bunch of cards, I think. I think that's
But
where you're going.
that exists, and there's plenty. I'm sure there's plenty of people listening that have a similar experience to you and have a similar collection size that you. I'm sure there's some people listening being like, I have an old gold collection. Suck it, peasants. But also, like, I'm gonna dip into my car enthusiasm here, dude. I love watching videos of people who own cars I will never ever be able to afford. Like, I want to see someone go enjoy their crazy freaking like twin turbo Dodge Viper or something, because like I love that car. I'll never own one. Like, it's fine, it's okay. So I don't know. Like, I don't think you have to apologize as much as you are.
Not apologizing, just it's easy for me to say, hey, I've been bored for 3 months, but there's plenty of other stuff in the client to do. But I want to make sure that I'm at least aware those aren't options for everyone. And for a lot of the more casual players, if they're bored with Standard or BGs, even if you're a BGs main and you haven't invested in Standard, it's pretty hard to even get in that. And then saying, oh, get into Wild, get into Duels, other things to do, those take years of cards to build up. So it's an option that I've been taking advantage of because I have a larger collection. I'm an extremely invested player, but not everyone may have that. So I totally understand the boredom some people may have, as well as the fact that those options may not be on the table.
Well said. Well said. And I also think it's worth pointing out, like, Hearthstone now compared to when we would hit content droughts in the past is an embarrassment of riches by comparison.
Yes.
Yeah, it's just like... There was a reason that for like 3 years I was like, can we do anything interesting with Arena? Because that was my only other option. And I didn't care for it.
I'll point out that you two had a bonus episode series on Tavern Brawl. That's how bad it was, listeners. They had to talk about randomonium to get more content.
Yeah.
That was literally the biggest mistake I've ever made in the history of podcasting, was starting that, by the way. It should have just been a segment in the show. And also is something we could have drug out back and killed a lot quicker.
Yes.
So boy, being forced to talk about Tavern Brawl killed any enjoyment of Tavern Brawl for me very, very quickly.
It was like super interesting for the first like 5 to 6 weeks. And then it was like, why are we still talking about this? They're already starting to repeat their ideas.
And now
what
that
do we do now?
And now that I've got a lot of distance between it, like, you go back, you probably... Again, that was another thing I was on the warpath for a long time. I was like, Tavern Brawl sucks. Why does anyone care? And I felt really mad when I met Joe Mag, because he's like the coolest guy on earth. But
He doesn't work there anymore. It's fine.
I'm aware. I'm aware of this fact.
Yeah.
But anyway, now that there's some distance, I realize, like, it's not Tavern Brawl's fault. Team 5 didn't roll out the boat and go, we made this specifically so you soulless assholes talk about it week in and week out because it's deep. No, they just made a fun mode. I was the one sucking the joy out of the room by trying to force deep analysis on it.
Why is this 3-minute activity designed to give people free packs not something I can talk about for 60 minutes per week?
I don't understand.
Okay, first of all, you're overselling it. All we tried to do was 25 minutes, and that was difficult.
But as we've learned from, well, this episode right now and also all the previous ones, we have trouble getting to the point sometimes. And I wasn't even there back then.
No, but at least this was about
a
Hearthstone.
wonderful point. Yes, this was a wonderful chat about how we're currently engaging with the game.
I think it's good. I'm just saying we are one Tavern Brawl episode into this episode right now.
That's a good point. That's a good point. I've mostly been playing Battlegrounds. I'm just engaging with Standard to get my quest done. Still really enjoying Elemental Shaman. I think part of what I really enjoy about it is that I'm not playing a lot of Standard right now, and I don't feel like I need to practice with that deck to be good with it. I'm just like,
it's quite straightforward.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mull for once, play the yellow cards.
Accurate.
You are on fire tonight, sir. All right. Well, before we get into the teaser, we have thanks to give, and that is to our patrons who are giving us their hard-earned dollars and supporting us here at the Angry Chicken financially. So if you like what we're doing and you'd like to chip in $1 or more, it's completely up to you. You can choose how much you pay for your episode of The Angry Chicken every week. Check out patreon.com/TAC. If you do become a patron, and this is for all patrons, you're going to get access to our patron-only Discord, an ad-free version of the show, as well as some other perks. So go check it out. And to our most recent patrons, we want to thank Toll and Jonathan Lasik. Thank you very much. Nobody requested a John Cena intro this week, and I'm frankly disappointed because Fast 9 just hit theaters. And spoiler alert, John Cena's on the poster. So if that's a spoiler, I'm not sorry.
I don't think you can spoil it if it's on the poster.
I thought the poster was just blank. I didn't think there was anyone on it.
There's actually multiple posters. Now that you mention it, I have seen the one that you're speaking of that's just F9 and I think a tire.
No, I was just making a joke about how I couldn't see him.
Oh, I thought you were being very technical because you work in a movie theater, but you were going with the you can't see him. Yeah, it was really weird in the movie when Dominic Toretto was just fighting an invisible bad guy the whole film. It was very strange. Bold move.
Make a movie about that.
Yeah, they should, and we should probably make a podcast about the tease of the next expansion.
Good news, everyone!
All right, we got a tease today for the next Hearthstone expansion, and it's got Stormwind Guards, and what sounds a lot to me like Riverdance music, which if you were wondering what decade I grew up in, that should pinpoint it for you. And also the announcement that on July 1st, which is this Thursday, which those of us with rent or mortgages are very aware of when the first is. That was a bad joke. 9:30 Pacific time. They're going to be doing a reveal stream or an announcement stream. I don't know exactly the terminology they used, but on Twitch and YouTube to reveal the next Hearthstone expansion. They've confirmed quite a bit for this stream. The lead designer, Alec Dawson, is going to be showing up and giving us an overview, they write, of what you can expect for Phase 2 of the Year of the Griffin. Also, game designers Liv Breeden and John McIntyre are going to be there as well to talk about the upcoming card set. They've also confirmed there's going to be...
I think what you need to say there is not just that they're going to be there talking about the new card set. I mean, there's going to be costumes in a skit, or I'm not watching it. I mean, it's Liv. It's got to be, right?
It's a Hearthstone expansion announcement. There's always there's a cinematic with a new song. And there's always ridiculous... That's been happening since the dawn of time. This is not something that has changed wildly.
Not the whole time. I feel like Broad came out with the hat for League of Explorers. And ever since then, it's kind of like grown.
I guess I see it all as
there was always the trailer and the song, for sure. But
yeah, I guess I see it all as like an extension of like those ridiculous live action trailers we used to get too, where it was like Dave Kosak in the Mad Scientist lab hanging out with Idija. And Broad lost in the woods, and the Lich King on a job interview.
That was awesome. Those were really good. Did Ashes have a song?
It
had the Storage Wars, which was awesome.
It did have a story. Did it have? I don't think it Did it?
I don't think it had a
song.
Hearthstone-y song.
It
I
w-
think
it was
they
the
made it all
It's-
super serial.
It was the
I bet
cries.
Illidan just like, I'm not gonna sing.
I'm Illidan.
Classical
Have you
Illidan.
seen my scars? I am my scars. Ah, what have you sacrificed?
I couldn't hear any song over the sound of Jocelyn crying about how unfair demon hunters were.
She knows all the Demon Hunter lines.
I do.
Demons.
Demons.
Like it. I like
Damn
it.
demon.
They've also confirmed that there's
time.
going to be news for Battlegrounds and that there will be no news for Mercenaries.
Which I
Well, they
think
gave
is
us
good
news
because
on why
then
there's no news.
yeah, so
Yeah.
I think it's good for them to kind of set expectations and say like, hey, we thought it was going to be ready for phase 1. It's not. It's going to come in phase 2. Here's when we're going to talk about it. That way on July 1st and or all the way through the summer, we're not constantly going to be going with every single Hearthstone announcement. But where's Mercs? Where's Mercs? Where's Mercenaries? What's happening? What are you doing? What even is it? They're like, you know what? Just this is when you can expect it. It's in the fall. We'll talk about it then. Let's focus on what we do have, which I think is very like managing expectations is what everyone should be doing right now.
Yeah. No, and I agree. I just wanted to be clever and say there's Battlegrounds news and no Mercenaries news. That's it. That's it. No, I think it's good as well. And I haven't seen, at least in my corners of the internet, anything like looking even remotely like a complaint. And if there was, I would just point them to every other Blizzard game, which is in a horrible content drought. Like World of Warcraft is just now getting its first major content patch after over 200 days, I think.
Yeah, ridiculously long time.
Yeah. Like
You were just supposed to be playing Torghast the whole time.
Ugh.
Imagine thinking Torghast would be fun for that long. No. COVID has taken its toll on every single damn game in the world. Look at E3. E3 was a giant average affair. It was just like, it's okay, I guess. And that was only partially because Jeff Keighley took half of the good announcements for his show.
Yeah, there's some real competition there now, I think.
Yeah. It's just
Also,
a weird
Metroid
year.
Dread, I'm so hyped. Metroid Dread. All about it. Let's go.
Well, if you're indifferent to Fast and Furious, I'm indifferent to Metroid.
Okay, that's fixable. We'll deal with that.
No, we won't.
So what I liked, so something keeps bugging me about Mercenaries. Something keeps standing out to me. Every other thing they have added to Hearthstone, no matter how large, they have never announced it this far out and never given us updates on the progress. They have to be so antsy to talk about this thing because they keep talking about how they're going to not talk about it. They brought it up at BlizzCon, whereas Ben, Lee, and Kibler talking weirdly in front of a screenshot. And now they're giving us an update on its delay and giving us a rough date estimate. They must really be dying to talk about this thing because they're acting so differently from how
They have
acted about
roadmaps.
everything
They
else.
never used to have roadmaps. They have roadmaps. I think they announced this prematurely because of roadmaps. And now that the cat's out of the bag, I think they feel the need, I think rightfully, to let us know, like, hey, I know we said this is coming, but it's further out than we would all like it to be. I think they're just leveling with us.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but they've
and-
done spell lock too. Like they didn't have.
They
to give
could
us
have
this much
hidden it.
info.
They could have hidden it, which makes me think like I'm glad you're so positive about it, Hat, because I feel like maybe I'm a little bit more jaded at this point.
Yeah.
But like to me, what that sounds like is like, hey, we've got a really fun thing that then turned out to like maybe not be fun the more they played it or needed some sort of like revampy thing or they thought they'd be done way earlier than they are. I don't know. To me, it feels like something bad happened, but maybe that's just my more negative like worldview right now. I don't know, but I
know
look
it
at this and think
seems-
like something got screwed up and they weren't ready when they thought they'd be.
My brain goes like, I know this is kind of newer territory for Hearthstone, which is like just adding like wildly different modes to what it has. I know we're kind of used to it after 2 years of Battlegrounds, which is still in beta, by the way. But my brain goes back to like, this feels old school Blizzard to me. Like, I bet it just wasn't shaping up in the way that they wanted it to, and they had a major going back to the drawing board moment. I know they haven't said that. This is me speculating, and this is absolutely zero inside information on this. This is me speculating, but all of this reminds me of Blizzard of 10 years ago, where they were just like, oh, you want StarCraft Ghost, the thing that we had a playable demo of on the floor of E3? Yeah, we just threw the whole thing in the trash because it just
it wasn't good.
Yeah, we just
didn't like it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Don't ask us how much money we put into it.
That's the vibe I'm getting from Mercenaries 2. So, and I mean, and that's my like positive spin on my negative take, I guess. Like if I go like full on corporate hat, I'm like, they couldn't figure out how to monetize it properly, so they changed the whole game mode so that they can get more money out of us.
At this point, I'm all for it, man. It was
That's
like
a super negative take. Okay,
we've gotten 2 modes so far.
I'm in between.
We've gotten 2 new modes that I think got monetization wrong in different ways. Battlegrounds didn't monetize it enough, and Duels monetized it too much. For me, bring it on. Just get it right. Like when you hit that perfect balance of monetization and your whole
fun
thing works. Like, yeah, I don't know that I don't fall too far down that rabbit hole until I know it's like for a negative reason. But yeah, and again, I get like my takeaway from this is like I like that they're telling us this. They stayed up in this say, quote, we need more time. There's more before that. There's more after that. Go read the statement in full. But that is an actual quote from their explanation as to why there's not going to be mercenary news at this expansion reveal. So, and plus too, I bet if there wasn't Battlegrounds news, they wouldn't have felt the need to make a statement. But because they're saying, hey, we're also going to have an announcement about Battlegrounds, they felt the need. All right, we should probably tell them like, hey, don't get excited about mercenaries. It's not there yet. They did say though, was that they're now expecting Mercenaries to release in phase 2 of the Year of the Griffin. But they said they won't be quite ready to share details of the mode during the stream on July 1st. Instead, they're going to be hosting a dedicated Mercenary stream this fall. So this might be the closest thing we all get to a regular BlizzCon in terms of like some sort of Blizzard
the
event.
Timing of if you pre-order during the pre-patch for the 3rd set, you get a new mode to play, early access. This fits that timing very well.
Right, which is exactly what they did with BGs and then also with Duels, right? It was 3rd expansion of the year and then get early access. So I think that's a reasonable expectation to have. And probably a reasonable timeline for them to be introducing new modes like this, right? Like if these are as large of additions to Hearthstone as like Battlegrounds was, Duels. I mean, I feel like I can't accurately comment on Duels just because I haven't interacted with that content as much as anybody, pretty much anybody else. But I mean, if they're going to be introducing big new content patches like that give us new modes to play, then I think once a year is reasonable. Like any more than that, it just feels like it's just too much. There's already a lot to do in the client. We don't need big new modes every other expansion.
I know life is so hard, man. We have too much to do in Hearthstone.
I know.
It's just it's the worst. That's the worst thing about Hearthstone. There's too many things to do.
If you have a mustache to twirl. Otherwise, for the unwashed masses, no, just play what you can afford if you don't have every card from Hearthstone's history. Duels is just so expensive. I like it, but it's so expensive.
Over the weekend, a good friend of mine, Brian, who made the music for this very podcast, as a matter of fact, he was in town from LA. That's right. I got to see a friend who lives on the other side of the country. It was wonderful. It was so good. So we hung out, and he likes Hearthstone, but he doesn't like spending money on Hearthstone. I love when I get to talk to my actual friends in real life about Hearthstone, because Brian's not like us. He doesn't like report on the damn game or constantly stay up to date on the news coming out of it. And I was just like, so what are you doing? He's like, oh, I've just been playing like the shit out of Battlegrounds. And I was like, oh yeah. I was like, I realize that it's more, economical to be competitive in that mode. Do you find the I knew it was free to play. My brain was just firing them off like a mile a minute. And I was just like, do you feel bummed out like that you don't get to choose 4 heroes? He's like, dude, it's such a negligible amount of gold. He's like, I always have 4 heroes. What are you talking about? I was like, oh, that's right. I always forget about that.
Yeah. Battlegrounds is not free to play. It's free. And then you play it.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
And-
So it was a fun little
To
chat.
add on to what Joss was saying, the one reason as well why I'm really glad they're not adding more modes more frequently, the client needs to breathe. Client needs to breathe. It can't handle more modes.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like we've been asking for this for like a client revamp and rebuild for 2 or 3 BlizzCons now, where we're just like, guys, it's getting a little big. Might wanna fix some of the basic stuff, but things break every
Never gonna
expansion. They
happen.
fix things every expansion. It's fine.
I want my friends
Everything's
list to stop
fine.
flickering. Can we just have the
I
friends
know.
list stay in place?
No.
No.
You asked too much.
Yeah. Never gonna happen.
Manage your
But
expectations.
let's circle back around though to the teaser. We saw a butt ton of Stormwind guards. It was just Stormwind AF. That's what I tweeted. I stand by it. We talked about when we got the teaser image for all of the expansions this year, like knowing that the first expansion was going to be Barons. We're like, okay, well the second one will probably be Alliance focused. And did we say Westfall? I don't remember what zone we focused on.
Yeah, so I think like Westfall is kind of one of the ones that would be kind of the Alliance equivalent to the Barons for Horde. So I mean,
Yeah, it's
I
later
think that-
on in the leveling. Like if I'm getting technical,
Yeah.
you go to Westfall later. Like Elwyn.
I'm trying to remember. Oh, that's it. I'm like, there's a forest. I play Horde, guys. I don't play Alliance, but yeah, there's that little forest. So yeah, Elwyn Forest would be. Yeah, right outside of Stormwind, which Barrens is right outside of Orgrimmar. So there's maybe a couple of potential options there, I think. For me, like with the with the music and the like the polearm thumping thing that they were doing and stuff, I just maybe, and this is more like a WoW inside joke. So if you guys don't play WoW, sorry, but maybe we're gonna get like Stormwind Dance Studio finally.
Oh man. Oh, that would be such a good inside joke. Oh.
I'm like,
Oh,
what
that'd
if,
be-
what if it just the next Hearthstone expansion comes out and it's Stormwind Dance Studio?
And then the third
like,
expansion.
we all get different dance styles you can choose to create.
And then the
your
third
dex
expansion,
energies.
Joss, do you think it's going to be the Path of Titans, or do you think it's going to be aerial combat?
It's got to be aerial combat, right? Like, we've got to bring flyers into Hearthstone. These
Gonna
are all
Google
things that
Stormwind
were.
Dance Studio.
Yeah.
So
These
everything
are
we
all
just
things
rattled
that
off.
were on
they were-
on like I guess the box of different expansions for WoW, but never actually made it into the final cut of
I
the
believe
game.
all of them were on the box for Wrath of the Lich King, but
Yeah.
not in the game. They never made the game. Didn't happen. Well, I think aerial combat was Burning Crusade. Maybe.
Yeah, and then I think the other one was Kata, wasn't it? I thought there was one on each thing.
Oh, it's all
but
Wrath.
anyways.
The character
Okay.
in the chat room saying, yeah. No, that'd be hilarious. Nah. So I'm getting much more of a Stormwind vibe than I am like Westfall or Elwyn vibe. Although I guess again, Elwyn is close enough to Stormwind that there would be Stormwind guards patrolling. But I don't know. This one's like so much more on the nose because the other one, if you remember the teasers for Barons, it was just like, we've got a tiny little silhouette in what looked like Wailing Caverns. We're like, okay, Wailing
Yeah.
Caverns, that seems good. And then they came out and it was like, oh, it's all about the Barons and it's very Horde focused. And then we got the teaser images for the rest of the expansions and we're like, okay, number 2 looks really Alliance. It looks super Alliance-y, blue and gold, Stormwindy. But
And they did confirm that Alliance fans would be getting their thing later on in the year. So
I think we even got to talk to the devs about that when we did our BlizzCon, BlizzCon line interview.
Yes, interview. Yep.
So yeah, it's just a lot of thoughts on that. Like, I don't know. I guess it confirmed they are sticking with what they already told us they were going to be doing. Other than that, it's like there's not much to read into. I mean, it's got a bunch of Alliance guards.
Yeah, they didn't show anything. It was even just like a blue and gold like background. It wasn't even, like hints at what we may be getting in terms of like dungeon things or so like they hinted at nothing outside of like, yes, there will be Alliance. That was it.
So if the dungeon they did wasn't Dead Mines, what are the other like Alliance-y dungeons?
Oh, Stockades. Stockades is in
Stockades
Stormwind.
is in Stormwind.
I didn't think about that. that they wanted to do another like a very Alliance dungeon to like play off of the Wailing Caverns-ness of it. Yeah. Oh, Dexter's in the chat room saying I think Stockades would be a mini set. That could be true.
Well,
So
I
they
mean,
would-
yeah, if it
they
was,
would have to
yeah,
print a
if they're looking
third
for a
Hogger
dungeon,
card.
yeah.
A third Hogger.
A third. I mean, we could do another. Yeah, we could do another Hogger. Hogger was a later addition though to the Stockades. In original vanilla, Hogger was a world boss.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
So it depends on which era of Stockades we're going for, or if we go Hearthstone like they have with the Gadgetzan and other things in the past. So they're just we're doing our own spin on it, and we're not being beholden to what exists in World of Warcraft. Also, I mean, they don't have to go that literal, right? It was like there's the Wailing Caverns, but also it's about the Barrens as a whole. Like it was, they played pretty fast and loose with the whole bit.
Yeah.
I mean, hell, there were
I wonder if
Alliance
we're gonna-
cards.
Yeah. I'm curious about like more so probably on the battleground side of things, but I'm kind of interested to try to figure out like we had a pretty clear line with Quilboar. Like there were lots of Quilboar teasers, and that was also very Warcraft Barons. I mean, are we gonna get like Stormwind Knights or something, or like what is? I don't know. I have no idea where we might go for a new minion type over on the battleground side. Like,
Well, I want Storm. You meant Knights like a guard. I was thinking like Stormwind
Yeah.
Knights. Like I want to go to a Stormwind nightclub. That sounds wonderful.
well, I mean, if we're going with the dance studio theme, I mean, why not?
I mean, the human males do the Saturday Night Fever dance in World of Warcraft, so
There you go.
it would be on brand.
But yeah, I mean,
guess-
this is the most teasery teaser we've ever had. It's basically like, here's the stuff you already knew. We're not telling you anything
But,
else.
hold up. I think you're forgetting this because you were right, despite you shouldn't have been. You shouldn't have been as right as you were when it came to Kobolds and Catacombs. But I think Kobolds and Catacombs had a cheekier preview when they were like, and the card we're going to give you for free at BlizzCon is a pirate. So everyone, myself included, just frothing at the mouth going, it's pirates, and we're finally getting our pirate expansion. Maybe it's Pirates and Ninjas, the expansion. And it turned out to be a D&D homage that had nothing to do with pirates specifically.
Yeah, I mean, do we have any like sneaky little icons in the blog post or anything other than the Year of the Griffin logo? Because like there were candles all over that Kobold
There ain't
blog
Jack.
post.
I mean,
Yeah, there's nothing. This is what I mean. They're not giving us anything.
there's I don't know. Should I read into the shield? There seems to be an over reliance on the use of the Alliance Lion Shield, but there's gonna be a lot of taunt, guys. There's gonna be a lot of taunt in this set.
There you go.
There's a
All
lot of
right.
taunt. Everyone gets a new version of like a Shield Slam card. Everyone gets armor this expansion. That's what I'm reading into.
Armor for
Gosh,
all.
I hope not.
I hope not as
Printed
well.
Armor Vendor last set.
That's true.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a tough one. It's just like, I don't know, it'll be Alliance themed. Move on. To me, the biggest surprise in this whole thing is that in the blog post itself, they were like, and we've got Battlegrounds news. I wouldn't have expected to have Battlegrounds news, which that starts to hype me up because there's not a whole lot to go here in terms of teasers for the next expansion, but them feeling the need to even say there's going to be Battlegrounds news, I go, well, it must be substantial if they're mentioning it.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Which is
and
interesting because
also-
if we are getting a new minion type, I would expect that to be the halfway through the expansion patch, right? Like not stuff they'd want to be talking about right at the get-go. So that makes me think that it's probably Heroes related, I would think.
This is when they announce a new expansion, they have to put the pre-order patch in. Right? They have to put the pre-order patch in.
Yes.
Are they going to add stuff? They're just going to do stuff? Like just put it in the game like this week?
Maybe?
It's 'cause
BG balance patch? Thursday?
they never list they never list BG's news like this. I don't think they have done this before. I don't even think they did did they do preview streams for Elementals or for Quilboars or whatever? Like I don't remember seeing hype streams They did the events a couple days after, but they didn't do anything.
One of them, they did a thing that they haven't repeated where they gave certain streamers or YouTubers like reveals for the Battlegrounds thingy. What
I
one?
vaguely remember.
What one was that?
Pirates?
Because
Is that Pirates?
was it pirate? It wasn't Pirates, was it? Maybe it was Ellie's.
I
Was
don't
it
know.
dragons? I'm literally just guessing all the new minion types.
I'm trying to
they
remember,
have.
but I just remember I think Crip was the first one to go up. I think Slissa was the second. I don't know, but I remember like watching this being like, this is hard for me to keep track of and write show notes on because we're getting piecemeal of the Battlegrounds patch. But yeah, I don't know. Chat room, and I've seen this going around a lot on Twitter today, is that Battlegrounds is going to officially go out of beta. But even that, like that's a quick announcement. It's like, and it's not in beta anymore. Like unless you're doing something substantial alongside that, I don't see why you would bother really making a big deal of it in your expansion reveal stream. So I'm kind of leaning your way, Joss. Like I bet if they had a balance patch ready and they just happened to be doing a big event stream, why not take a moment to kind of shine a spotlight on it? But it also makes me think it's something we might not be thinking about.
I think they're going to probably talk to us potentially about what heroes we get. And so that actually leads really well into some of the email questions we got. So I don't know if you have your bumpers ready, Garrett, but segue?
Hello.
Hello, it's me.
Hello.
Just quickly, do you get my message?
Yep.
Oh.
Hello, brother.
Do I have bumpers ready? You're right to ask. A lot of times I don't, actually. You can send your emails to tacpodcast@gmail.com. And if you're supporting us on Patreon, well, you can skip the inbox entirely. Just message us in that patron-only Discord. Send us a DM on Patreon. Carrier pigeon? I don't think I gave you my address on Patreon, but if I did, sure, send a carrier pigeon. It's fine. Zatoichi8 defeated Zatoichi's 1 through 7 and sent this email. Will Battlegrounds get an Alliance-themed hero to go with the Alliance-themed standard stuff? I like how you wrote, it's just like, this works. If we took this after the announcement of the expansion, we still could have read this. If so, who would you like to see, and what might the hero power be? We just talked about Hogger, and if we're going anywhere even near Stormwind City, I want Hogger in Hearthstone Battlegrounds. Please and thank you. Make him a taunt hero. Maybe he can give minions taunt. Maybe he can buff taunt minions.
Yeah, we don't have anything other than Defender of Argus right now to give things taunt that don't otherwise have it. So that might be kind of a cool hero power on like down the lines of like George with his granting Divine Shield, right? Somebody who could grant taunt.
That would scale poorly, and that's why I was firing this off in real time, and that's why I went, maybe it buffs taunt minions or adds some sort of like on your taunt minions drop knolls on Death Rattle or something, and we play with the knoll stats.
Give a minion taunt. If it already has taunt, give it +2/+2. I don't know.
Ooh, I like that. I like that. That scales better. That scales better.
That stuff.
Yeah.
And we do also have, so the mercenaries, I realized earlier today that there are 10 classes, which means there are 5 Horde mercenaries and 5 Alliance mercenaries, because that's how big the group has to be to go in a dungeon, because you go in a dungeon with 5 people. So
correct.
We are still missing, well, we're going to get the story piece. The story dungeon will be the 5 Alliance adventurers, which is Kurtrus, Tavish, Scabs, Cariel, and, who's the last one? So, not Rokara. Talon Priest, Zyrella. And so we
I
have
was gonna say, we already have her. Yeah. We already have Zyrella,
But she's in there, but I think she's the only mercenary that's in there. No, Guff.
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 How could you forget about Guff?
But so we are also still waiting on all of those, and they will be kind of technically Alliance, but I guess they're not going to be Alliance-y so much as mercenary.
Yeah, but it also goes with kind of the overarching mercenary theme of this standard year.
Yeah.
I feel like they could have wanted a better animal than Griffin, now that I know it was a very mercenary-focused year, but that's neither here nor there.
What animal is very mercenary-like?
I don't know. Like, you know what? I guess I pay a lot. I pay copper and silver and gold to ride on the backs of griffins all the time. Never mind, they're mercenary. They are 4 higher. We haven't gotten like Varian in Battlegrounds. We haven't gotten Anduin in Battle. We haven't gotten any of like the titular Warcraft heroes in Battlegrounds.
Yeah, which is kind of odd. I mean, maybe they want to. There's no excuse for not having Varian. I think in as either a warrior like hero on the standard side of things, or as his own character over on the battleground side of things. I think Varian is a huge lore character. And I mean, was the head of the Alliance for a really long time. So it would make a lot of sense to include him in this expansion. Now, whether we see him as a standard card or as a hero in Battlegrounds, I think it's kind of crazy that he doesn't exist really yet. Like, there could be so many things.
Yeah, except the one time we had him as a card, right?
Yeah.
Kajitar in chat room was joking that how would a pile of dust work as a hero? I will pay a premium. I will pay a premium for a warrior portrait that is just a pile of green dust.
Oh my God. You know what? It would be so cool if they made him a card and then his death rattle was like, give your board +1/+1 or something like Stormwind Champion-y. And then he just like explodes in green dust and goes like poof over your whole board. And buffs it.
The dust remains dormant for 2 turns, and it's just their version of casting like sorrow and sadness on your board. You can't put a 7th minion down for like 2 turns until you get over your grief. That'd be, oh boy, yeah. No, I'm not joking.
So many things.
Put that in the game. I will pay double what it normally costs for a cosmetic.
We get kind of dark here. We get kind of dark.
I just want to troll all of my fellow Warcraft lore nerds. But get in the game and making them cry.
Well, if you want to troll them, then we need Brukan to get in there.
Brukan is a troll.
Not an Alliance hero, though, so we are not answering Toichi's question.
But yeah, like
I don't know. Yeah, go ahead.
I think that there's quite a lot of Alliance themed characters they could choose from. Who did we get on the Horde side when Barons came out? Did we get 40 people?
No. We got mercenaries.
Yeah, so I think maybe we might just be seeing mercenaries.
Oh, we get Sourfang.
Oh, we did. I forgot he was in there. He's terrible.
I forgot because he sucks.
He's so bad in Warcraft and in Battlegrounds.
We could. Greymane. Greymane isn't a playable hero for Constructed Hearthstone. Put Greymane in there.
Yeah, Greymane would be another good choice, I think. He's still relevant to current WoW. So I think that, he'd be another good choice, though Saurfang is not relevant to current WoW. So maybe that would lead me down the Varian path, but,
Spoilers.
Oh, what do you mean? Okay, if it happened like over a year ago.
Also, we are in the expansion of bringing back dead folk, so who knows? Maybe he will be relevant.
Maybe he will.
That cinematic cannot be tarnished this quickly. The ding ding got me. It gets me every time when they do the ding ding and like I get choked up. Anyways, if you didn't watch this, it's a very melancholy ding ding. People listening,
it's good. Yeah,
very well. I'm not selling it well.
Yeah. No, I think Greymane's kind of a Sourfang equal on the Alliance side. Hasn't been a huge player in recent lore, but still kind of in a similar position.
Yeah, he's very much
Jaina Proudmoore.
You think we'll see? I don't know, because we don't have anybody.
Well, then I'm just going to start listing off heroes I can play as in Constructed Hearthstone.
Yeah.
Well, we have Illidan.
We did have Illidan.
Oh shit, you're right.
Of course we did.
I forgot because he's absolute garbage in Battlegrounds. But
yeah,
we keep forgetting about all these terrible heroes that we never picked.
How could I forget about Illidan and Shutterwalk and Dino Tamer Bran?
Yeah, but so Jaina Proudmoore, the entire previous expansion was about her from the Alliance side. So I think that wouldn't be as much of a reach as like Malfurion would be a little weird. But like you could do Tyrande, you could do Jaina for sure. Those are all really major on the Alliance side.
I mean, Greymane, I think he's basically like Anduin's right hand wolf, right? So I mean, there's definitely
Wolfman. Here, Greymane. You want a cookie? Greymane want a cookie? Who's a good boy?
You know,
Who's
I
a
mean,
good sideline character?
He'd be mad if he heard this, you know.
He could get as mad as he wants. He won't be in a scene for anyone to realize he's mad.
Oh.
He'll raise his fist to the sky and yell Sylvanas. That's what he'll do. That's what
That
he'll
is
do.
true.
All right, Josh, you want to take our next question?
Sure. This one comes in from Joltsy, who says, tinfoil hat discussion time. Do we see Don Honcho or Aya Blackpaw in this expansion? Because obviously, so we had a version of Kazakus. We had the Golem Shaper come out in Barons. So that, I mean, of the two, Don Honcho or Aya, I think would be the most alliancey of the three Mean Streets of Gadgetzan people. But do we think that we might see a return of one of those two characters in this upcoming Stormwindy Alliance expansion? I think it's a cool theory and something I hadn't even thought about. Like 3 leaders, 3 expansions, maybe?
I find Aya to be the most unlikely. So my gut reaction was, I'm pretty sure they made another Kazakus because they just had a really good idea on how to do another Kazakus with putting together, building
Creating the minions,
yeah.
It was I think he had the most interesting of the 3 that we saw from Mean Streets. I think he had the most interesting mechanic for sure. He had something we'd never seen before in Hearthstone. It was really cool to see him come back with the golems. I think unless they're going to reintroduce something, whether they call them jades or just growing minions over the course of a game type deal, unless they bring that back with Aya, she didn't do anything that was that cool and different.
She was very tied
gave
to
you the
Jade Golems.
The Jade Golems, yeah. She just gave you the extra on what was a Battle Cry and Death Rattle. She didn't do much.
Yeah, whereas Don Honcho, because Kazakus clearly was cut from the same cloth of his previous version. Don Honcho was all about hand buffing, and hand buffing is working at the moment. So I could see a new take on Don Honcho potentially.
The only thing, so Aya is Pandaren, which means she is an alliance race because Kazakus is a troll, right? So he does fit with the Baron's theme.
Well, Pandaren goes either way.
Yeah, because Pandarens go either way. What was Don Honcho? Was he an orc?
He was an ogre.
Okay.
Yeah. I believe one was named Don and the other was named Honcho.
Right.
Although, actually, there's it's a apostrophe Han Cho, so that makes me think of Cho Gall. So I think Don might have been there in unison name, and then it was Han and Cho.
Maybe, yes. I can
where
see that.
is Celestalon when we need him?
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, if we're looking at ogres, ogres are a little bit more hoardy, like Rexar's half ogre. There's that kind of connection on the horde side, but technically you can't play ogres on either side, which makes me think they would make a good third expansion person.
Yeah.
But yeah, the point is that Pandaren is as close to alliance of a race as we've got with these 3 characters. So that's why I would say that we would be looking at Aya, if anyone, to fit the theme of the expansion. But Garrett, I think you're right. Mechanics wise, hand buffing is definitely more in the meta right now than just I poop out a minion that is of a certain type and then give you another slightly bigger one when I die.
Yeah. I am very
you
much
watched the day 9 video. I'm gonna bet no on both of these. The tri-class was a failed experiment. It didn't really work all that well. Jades were really linear and really memorable, but not necessarily for the best way. Some people love them, but they definitely were at their welcome.
I also loved them.
I enjoyed them at a time, but then they were at their welcome, and the play pattern's very linear. And Jade Idol as a card, people feel feelings about that card. And hand buffing back then did not work.
Mm-hmm.
Boy, it was bad. The real third tri-class in Mean Streets was Pirates. That was the real third class because hand buff was so bad, and Hunter just didn't do anything for the entire expansion. Cabal was loosely connected with the potions. Kazakus was extremely memorable and extremely interesting mechanically, like you said, Garrett. And the other ones don't check both boxes. Aya was memorable because the mechanic was so linear and consistent and reliable, and her as a character was not a hugely important part of that puzzle. She was just good with Jades. And Don Hancho was 400 dust when you opened him. That was his battle cry. Gain 400
Oh,
dust.
yeah.
Yeah. So I don't think that there is a rich enough history here to mine. Kazakus really stood out. He was the proto Zephyrus. He was Zephyrus before Zephyrus was in the and he saw consistent play and was interesting and powerful for the entire time he was around, which you can't say about these other two. I don't think that these other two come back.
Sad face. That would have been a really fun, like, through line.
I will admit I was having fun with the thought experiment of how these fit in, and I definitely land more on the side of I'm pretty sure they were just super stoked on the idea of a new Kazakus, but
yes.
He's definitely the most interesting of the three.
yeah. But there's also, I think, a redemptive arc for Don Hancho. I think Aya had her time. Let's not bend over backwards, bringing Jades back into the game. I'm all for a Don Hancho redemption arc.
He's cool.
We need to have a conversation about redemption arcs in Hearthstone. World of Warcraft's having all the redemption arc thought experiments over there and opinion yelling. So, anyways, Ridiculous Hat, take us home with our final question.
From Lord Commander, before we see the new cards, what archetypes do you hope they expand upon in the next expansion? I also imagine you'll already talk about this in the show, but what are your overall thoughts on the Barons? To me, it's been a bit meh. None of the meta decks have been that fun for me. Well, we didn't talk about that then, but we're going to talk about that now. We'll answer this question backwards. While I do think that there are fun decks, and in particular, speaking as a person that plays a lot of Rogue, they got Rogue exactly right this expansion. It feels so roguey and exactly what I want to do. If I were making a tier list of expansions that were most likely to be forgotten about in future tier lists of expansions, Barons would be number one. I think it is most likely
Over
to be...
Rosticon's Rumble?
People remember that it was a low point. We remember that very clearly. Barons, what I liked... the things that are good about Barons are the structural changes for the game. Core set's super important. And all these other things that they did are relevant. The actual meta that we got, which was harkening back to original Hearthstone with a modern twist, it was cool for a bit. And now it's like, all right, what's next? And I think it will be remembered as the expansion of setting up the good infrastructure. What's next? People might remember the 2 weeks of lunacy on 2. I hope they don't. But otherwise, it's a lot of what's been significant. This expansion has not been what we've had, but what's been taken away, both from the core rotation and classic leaving, and also nerfing Penflinger, which was hugely defining. Nerfing Paladin after Libram Paladin dominated, and then Secret Paladin, then Libram Paladin, then no Paladin. And while it was kind of nice to see Shaman come back at the end in a healthy way, which is the first time that's happened in a while, it was still on the back of Doomhammer for some of it, and we've seen that card before. So I don't think it's a bad expansion. I just think it's an expansion that looked to redefine the baseline, and that was important, but not necessarily exciting for the entire cycle.
I'm so amused by your explanation of Barons will be forgotten because it didn't delight or make us angry enough. Like it is just going to fade in obscurity by being okay. Like that's I find that fascinating.
Good. I'd even say good. It just it's I don't think the card pool is big enough to have the depth for sustained engagement because they removed so much stuff. And the things that are good, there are so many good neutrals, especially good neutral legendaries. So you're seeing Samuro all the time, you're seeing Alex all the time, you're seeing Mankrik all the time. And these things, if these are good in every game you play, then it's just going to get hard to be surprised. It's hard for me to be surprised by Venomous Scorpion 3 from any deck. You just play it.
It comes back to that conversation we had a couple of weeks ago where I was saying it feels retro, even though there's a lot of quote-unquote new cards going around. Like the vibe and the texture of a game of Hearthstone feels old school, which to a certain degree I enjoy, but also to another degree I get bored with. I liked the pre-mini set meta more than the mini set meta. I can't quite articulate why. If I look at the top decks right now, I think it's because they're all pretty straightforward. Face Hunter, Token Druid, Elemental Shaman, right on top there. Like Face Hunter gonna face, Elemental Shaman gonna play on curve, Spell Druid is gonna get lucky 1 out of 8 games, but those 1 out of 8 games, I wish death upon you.
Okay, that deck is good and complicated.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna say
I
that
know.
Gibberling is a fair card that I love that they printed, but I'm going to say the non-Gibberling games are interesting until they play out in the same way of you make board, they fail to kill one of them, and then you kill your opponent.
I will reluctantly agree with you. I was trying to simplify by saying it feels samey when I run into these decks. It's not a whole lot of variance.
Well, and I think when you're talking about it feeling samey, I think you've both kind of hit on the same point here with it being decks or deck types we've seen before with a very kind of throwbacky meta and archetypes we've seen in the past and are very nostalgic. And I think it even goes back to the conversation we had off the top of the show about Classic, where it's cool and fun and we like it and it's good, but then we've already seen it, so it maybe doesn't have the legs that a lot of other things, a lot of other archetypes and metas that we've seen in the past that have been like totally new and crazy. This didn't really get totally new and crazy. It was new take on old, and that doesn't maybe hold people's attention quite as long. It doesn't mean it's bad. It just means that I think that people don't hang on to it quite as long and maybe get bored a little bit faster. But I do think a lot of the changes that they made this expansion were very healthy. And I know like you can always kind of tell when people start talking about everyone wants to delete Priest. It's like once we get to that point of the Hearthstone conversation, then I feel like it's like everyone's just bored.
That's a great barometer.
And so if you look at this meta, so I'm going to ask you both a question, and I really want to know how easy it is for you to find an answer. That's more what I'm asking. What was the thing that you remember the most, that stood out the most to you about Rise of Shadows, about the Rise of Shadows meta? You kind of have to dig to have feelings, right? Like, it was fine. If we think about it, it's like, oh yeah, Rogue and Dr. Boom, Mad Genius were good. But you think like the meta was...
I liked the adventure. That's what I think of.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, lackeys. Lackeys were Rise of Shadows. Okay, so that's fair. Yeah.
The first time we saw them, but we weren't generating them with Galakrond yet, so it was just Miscreant and Cable Rat. And like...
So yeah, they were powerful, and we were like playing. Some decks were playing things that maybe weren't as great to get them. Yeah.
So I think that Barons and Rise of Shadows will be in a similar boat at the end of the day, where when I mention the name, you have to think kind of hard about what your feelings were. That's where I think we're going to land here. But that's not the only question Lord Commander asked. Lord Commander also asked, what archetypes do you hope they expand upon in the next expansion? I hope that they're nothing that we come up with on this show right now. I hope they do some crazy shit that we aren't anticipating.
Yeah, we talked a little bit about this last week, so I'm going to defer to Joss because my answer remains like I'd like to see them do Secret Paladin correctly with the legendary that turns your secrets into tokens. And I'd like to see them keep going, pushing Shaman. We talked about that last week, but like Joss, what are you hoping gets kind of shored up?
I mean, I feel like this is just a typical Joss answer because I was a little bit kind of focused on Hunter with this question, just because I feel like we've been doing Face Hunter for a little while now, and I would just like to see Hunter get another option. Like we've seen Hunter's been good in some way, shape, or form for a very, very long time now. It's a pretty straightforward class. They've always got something to play. I just feel like we've been playing around with Face Hunter for a little bit too long, and I would like to see them get something else, anything else. I don't know what. Like, I don't want to just see a mid-range thing. I'd like to see something, like you said, something super crazy that I don't see coming, just something that makes me play and think about Hunter differently, because I feel like I've been thinking about Hunter in the same way for quite a while now. So I want to see that class get a shakeup. They're one of the only classes that has like one viable way to play, right? Everyone else seems to have a couple of different choices, but Hunter, it's kind of like you face or you play another class. Like there's some stuff floating around, like there's an OTK floating around right now, but it's not good. Like
you can kind of Jewel of N'Zoth if you really squint hard at the screen and tell yourself that you're doing a good thing.
Yeah.
Kibler's been playing a Jewel of N'Zoth deck,
tell yourself you're doing a good thing,
Kibler can do whatever he wants. Yeah.
Yeah, but also like, how crazy is that? Like, how, can we? Not that you were like putting on a big impassioned show, like this is uncalled for. I can't believe it, but like, They had like 7 archetypes that worked for like 3 years. It's and at the same time, yeah, I think it's because it's Face Hunter as well. Like if they only had one way to play and it was something a little more unique.
Yeah, a little bit more, like Highlander Hunter or like Death Rattle Hunter back in the Feign Death days, or something like that. Then if they only had one way to play, that might be kind of okay.
Yeah, but also
because it is the super hyper aggressive play style that's not really my jam all the time. I think that's probably why. Plus, this was also the deck I played the Legend, right? So this is the deck that I have the most experience in, and I'm kind of like, I don't want to play Hunter like that anymore. So, but it's also my all-time favorite Hearthstone class, right? So
yeah, but think of the other archetypes you rattled off, like the as I smack my microphone like a noob idiot. I'm mad at myself for that. Like Death Rattle,
podcasting professor.
Death Rattle, and Highlander. They have also had multiple permutations over the history of this game. Like there really isn't a famous hunter archetype that only had like one time in the spotlight that I can think of.
Spell Hunter. Kobolds and Catacombs.
Thank you.
Yeah, all of Kobolds and Catacombs. So Blizzard did an amazing thing for about 2 years with Hunter where they made it interesting. Spell Hunter, Recruit Hunter, Mech Hunter. They had Highlander Hunter back then as well, I think, if I'm recalling correctly. Secret Hunter with Cloaked Huntress. There's a whole lot of stuff going on there for a little while, and Hunter was interesting and had like 4 different ways to play, and they all had different matchup spreads.
Oh, that's a good point. I guess I wasn't thinking of ones that
was OP.
That are very like expansion specific, like things that would be hard to recreate outside of an expansion that was mech heavy, for example.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and Kobolds they printed the Spellstone and Wandering Monster and Raktalar, and that's pretty on the nose. Like that's what they wanted you to do, and it was interesting, but also the Spellstone, while being a little bit too powerful, was something that you could do in multiple different builds, and it was cool and interesting and made a bunch of archetypes possible. Now, that was also because...
And you had Rexar.
Existed.
Yeah, you had Rexar.
Yeah. So you didn't have to worry about control because you had a button that made control die.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I mean, Hunter is my kind of go-to answer, but also I think that right now, Mage, the Hero Power Mage, Ping Mage, whatever you want to call it, that deck feels like it's so close, and sometimes when everything lines up for them and nothing lines up for me, they just look like they're going to blow me out of the water. But overall, their win rate is terrible. It is not a good deck, but they have so many kind of cool cards that just, it feels like it's almost there. And I feel like that would be a little bit more fun. And I don't think that there's a way, unless they make it stupid powerful, right? But I don't think there's a way that you ever overtake No Minion Mage while Incanter's Flow is a card, and Refreshing Springwater is a card, and all of their spells are cards. Like, I don't think you ever really overtake that, but I would like to maybe see some sort of support for that, because I think that that's the most kind of different thing that Mage has done in quite a while, is to just focus on that hero power. And we've never really had a like hero power centric Mage that has like dominated, right? And people are probably sick of Mage dominating, so feel free to be like, no, Joss, stop it, close your mouth. Like, Mage has definitely been powerful for a while, but if I had to choose a Mage archetype, then that's the direction I'd like to see them go.
I guess Odd Mage didn't really dominate. It was good.
No, it was okay, but yeah, it wasn't there all the time.
Yes. By the way, Joss, if you ever take a dip into Wild, you can play Even Mage and get your hero power on in Wild with Gen, and it's very enjoyable. It's very enjoyable. Strongly recommended.
Yeah. And like, I know that there were builds of like hero power based mages that we've had in the past, obviously. It's just that it was never the best deck. It never really dominated, So I just like to see them be in a good, happy, healthy, winning 50% or over place instead of the like 32 or whatever they're at right now. Poor Ping Mages.
What you're saying is you want a mage to be good without needing Incanter's Flow? Sign.
Yes.
Cosign.
Yes.
Let's do that.
I just don't want them getting stupid, ridiculous, crazy, high rolly stupidness. Enough of that. But other than that, I think I'm pretty happy with where most of the other classes are right now. Like, I'm happy with the place that Shaman is in. I know a lot of people hate Priest, but I'm kind of okay with Priest. Paladin got knocked off the board completely, which I think is good because they were too dominant for too long, though I'm always down for a dude Paladin. So if we can see some sort of dude Paladin back, yeah. Which is another deck I know I can go and create over on the wild side because there's a lot of dude paladin tools there. But yeah, dude,
You are
like,
right.
yeah,
want a
dude paladin's always
dude!
gonna be yeah, I want a dude too.
I just want a dude.
But I'd be totally okay. And I feel like an alliance-centric expansion might be the place where we get a dude paladin, because, you know, like a whole bunch of little dudes is just so alliance-y. I think it fits the theme of the expansion really well, but I would
Couldn't
also
they
be
literally
totally
little
okay.
dudes? Could they be a bunch of gnome paladins?
Yes, please. But I would, yeah, I could definitely see them thematically doing that this expansion, but I would also be totally fine if we took an expansion off from Paladin and just they didn't get anything. That would be fine with me too.
I do not
Seems
sign off on this.
But I think like Demon Hunter's in a good place now. There's a couple of ways to play that. I don't love Lifesteal Demon Hunter shenanigans with Il'gynoth, but they have other ways to play. So Lifesteal doesn't actually represent all Demon Hunters I'm seeing. So I think they're in a good spot. Druids, I think, are in a good spot. I like that they can go a spell tokeny route or the clown druid way. Like those feel different. So I think most of the other classes are in a pretty good spot. Maybe not Warlock, but Warlock, I don't. Warlock, I feel like it must be just so difficult to design.
Figure them out. Do something with Warlock, please.
Just print more 1-drops. It's not that hard. Let me play Flame Imp on 1. It's not hard. Print 1-drops until I can Flame Imp on 1, Blizzard. Just do it. I miss him.
But new ones.
I feel like the kind of Warlock I like is always Zoo, and Zoo just is not very good right now. But I don't like Ticketus, and I don't want that, like super ultra mega disruption of your opponent to be the way that Warlock goes. But I mean, with their hero power, Warlock and I feel like we say this like every expansion, Warlock's got to be so hard to design. Like, it's such a fine line between being a good viable deck and being super overpowered because they just have that card draw engine. So yeah, I don't know what they do there, but it's got to be hard.
Life Tap isn't the engine it used to be. You used to be able to take a couple turns off and take a few points of damage and be okay, and now I think you can't really get away with that anymore, which is why they've struggled so much. Zoo was good until they lost, Soulfire, Voidwalker, but also they lost Expired Merchant to keep recycling Hand of Gul'dan because they needed Burst Draw because Life Tap was nowhere near good enough. And so I think just the way they look at early game Warlock cards, they might have opportunity to put a little bit more power there, as long as it's not in the way they did with like Imprisoned Scrap Imp, which was too much power in the worst possible gameplay experience. I'm much more about just some good 1-drops, maybe some 2-drops. I don't know. We'll see what happens.
The way we judge the quality of draw, a lot of things changed after Ashes. Like, this is not me doing a bit.
Yeah.
Like,
That's fair.
After seeing Skull of Gul'dan go off for the first time, I was just like, wow, my entire concept of what good draw is shattered.
Can look like,
Not just his skull, any body part of Gul'dan just made us think about card draw differently.
I can't wait till we get to his wiener.
How many times are you going to bring up wieners today out of context, Garrett?
It had been about 5 minutes since any of us had giggled, and I really just wanted to bring another giggle. So I'm sorry that I went for the lowest hanging fruit. But there we go. Anyways, I think it's going to wrap it up for this episode of The Angry Chicken, since I have resorted to blatant dick jokes. If you want to write in and give us anything else to talk about besides off-color humor, you can do so at tacpodcast@gmail.com. As always, want to thank those of you who are supporting us on our Patreon, which you can check out over at patreon.com/TAC. $1 or more get you into our Patreon membership, into our Discord, and get you that custom RSS feed made just for you that doesn't have ads on it. So, thank you very much, everybody, for your support, and check out patreon.com/TAC if you like what we're doing here at The Angry Chicken, you want to support us. And also, we want to thank our producers, Declan H., Cheesy Bob, and Jeffrey D. If you want to be a producer, the Patreon. You should notice a theme here. You know how it goes. The back catalog of The Angry Chicken can be found over at theangrychicken.com. Every episode we've ever made can be found there. If you want to find us on YouTube and watch the VODs after the fact, it's youtube.com/amove2. The 2 is numerical. And other than that, we're live Mondays, 8 p.m. Eastern over at twitch.tv/amovetv. We will not be doing a special Thursday episode. I am unfortunately not flexible enough, so we will be back next Monday to talk about what is announced this Thursday. But until then, Joss, where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter and Twitch. I'm at Joss Plays. I think I might actually stream right after this. I'm going to open OBS and see if it's broken. And if it's not broken, then I'm going to stream some Sea of Thieves. We're going to go check out the new Pirates of the Caribbean. I am very stoked on. I have not been able to play it yet. And yeah, I'm just super duper excited. So
I'm weird. Yeah. I think we already had this discussion, but I'm like weirdly moved by that license agreement. I'm just like, oh, I actually am really into this.
Yeah, apparently it's about 8 hours worth of content. It's like fully voiced and stuff, and obviously licensed.
That's almost as long as Dead Man's Chest.
It has all your favorite Pirates characters in it, and yeah, I'm excited to get in there and give it a try. So
it has.
I'm definitely gonna play right after this, and I'm like, I might as well try turning the stream on and see what breaks. Probably everything.
I'm trying to trip you up with my favorite
warning and a heat wave.
Yep. Yep. Hat, before the heat wave hits you, where can people find you?
You can find me in our Twitch chat making puns about Varian's name to make Joss laugh. You can find me at twitter.com/ridiculoushat. This is the hub of my content, though I have to point out, thanks to Gizvold, listener, I'm sure I pronounced that incorrectly, that there might be a new domain in the near future.
Yeah,
that involves my name.
Someone purchased a certain domain that I was joking about at the end of last episode that I was surprised you didn't already own. And yeah. So for completely unrelated reasons, I'm just going to put out in the universe that I would really like a Dodge Viper. I'll also accept a 1995 Toyota Supra. Cash, just piles of it. Be great. Thanks. Thanks.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you can also find me. I'm recording 2 podcasts this Thursday: Coin Concede and Vicious Syndicate. Coin Concede, Hearthstone podcast dedicated to make the competitive side of the game more accessible to you. I am sure we'll be talking about the Battlegrounds news and patch that day. And then later that night, I'm recording the Vicious Syndicate podcast, which is very focused on standard and all a data-based analysis look. So less like to talk about the BG stuff, but very excited for what's coming this week and to talk about it here in a week with Garrett. Garrett, where can we find you?
Thank you for throwing to me. I'm not used to people doing that. At Garrett Art on Twitter, amove.tv for this podcast and every single other one that I produce. I would highly, highly, highly recommend that if you are even remotely interested in Heroes of the Storm, maybe you haven't thought about that game in a long time because you're like, I thought they killed it back in 2018. It's had the most updates next to Hearthstone this year. It's had more updates than World of Warcraft. How crazy is that? We're going to have the new balance designer on this week on Into the Nexus. As far as I'm concerned, as far as I know, first interview new dude has done. I could be mistaken, but I haven't seen one anywhere else. Maybe it was like a PC Gamer written interview or something. But whatever the case is, I'm so stoked that Rajar said yes and will be joining us to talk about his balanced philosophy for the game of Heroes of the Storm, which just got a major balance update last week. You can hear all about that on the podcast Into the Nexus, wherever you find your podcast. So go search for Into the Nexus wherever podcasts can be found. Subscribe and get up to date on everything going on over in Heroes of the Storm, my other favorite Blizzard game. That's going to wrap it up for this episode of The Angry Chicken. Thank you so much for listening, everybody. But until next time, job's done.
Job's done.
Job's done.
I just said hell yeah, but I was muted so no one heard it. What was that?
Recording's off.
All right, cool. Hey, stream,
Hey,
you made me laugh a lot. Thank you. That was fun. Y'all are nerds, and you make good lore jokes. Casual, I had to mute when you made the Varian pile of dust joke. I had to hit my mute button. I started audibly chuckling. Well, anyways, I'm going to bring the stream down before I start theory crafting what the Dick of Gul'dan would do. All right.